I love me a good anomaly in the options market. And what better than GameStop? We have a really interesting position today. And even if you're not necessarily a big GameStop person, there's some really important details in here for options traders writ large. There's a great lesson. So today, in the 19 July 24 expiration cycle, the 30 calls, they had pretty high volume. And they actually kicked off a couple different alerts that I have, except this one was really weird. Let me show you why. If we first start with what is a bid, what is an ask? The bid is the most somebody is willing to buy something for right now. And then the ask is the cheapest somebody is willing to sell for right now. So that means that if I want to buy something as a trader, you have to essentially be near the ask to do it right now, right this second. You can always try to play the mid price. That's more of a negotiation process of back and forth typically. So if I want to buy something right now this second and get a fill, you got to go towards the ask. If I want to sell something right now, I would have to go towards the bid. So what's going on here? Well, this. I was looking at the 30s. A lot of transactions today. And this is filtering by stuff that's 50 lots and over. There's way more than this, but these are kind of most of the larger transactions. And it's a shotgun blast. It's all over the place. There's a lot of sells, which are red. There's a lot of buys, which are green. And then there's this one at the top, right there. Came through at 12:48:01 Pacific time. It was a 4,688 lot. Fascinating trade size. The price it came through at was 50 cents. Came through on the SIBO exchange. This is the weird part. The market was 50 bid, 49 offered. This inversion doesn't happen normally. This actually represents an arbitrage opportunity. This means that if I could transact actually at these prices, I can collect the spread between these essentially risk-free. You can be a market maker for a second. Now, the probability of you actually transacting fast enough at those prices is essentially null, but as a scholastic exercise, you very rarely will see bids higher than the offers. That is inherently arbitrage. That means that if I wanted to sell something, I could sell it for 50 and then buy it back at 49. I can make money right away. Now, this to me seems like an error of sorts. Because take a look at this. The platform has it labeled red, meaning it was something that was sold. And the logic that the platform uses, which I can clearly tell, is if it's below the bid, even though the bid is actually higher than the offer, which is very strange. So this is classifying it as a sell. So then I have to look at some other places to try to see what's going on here. So I take a look at unusual whales. And I see a ton of different transactions here for today for this specific strike. These all came through at 12:48, a bunch of them, right? 10 lot, bunch of single lots, a 7, a 10, a 7. And then there's this one, the 4688, $234,000 trade. And they're flagging it as a buy. So if I close this out and we take a look at that position up here, they are classifying this as a purchased option. Bullish. They're saying that it transacted at or above the ask, which is clearly also possible, right? Because they're also showing it bid 50, offered at 49. So then was this bought or sold? This opens up a whole other subject, which is the fact of the matter is when platforms like this do these different color coding rules, how could it be that this one colors it red and this one colors it essentially green for a buy versus a sell? They just use different logic orders. This one is looking at the bid side first and saying, is it at or below the bid? If so, sell. That's what this is telling you. However, if we take a look at this, it's telling you essentially the inverse. If it's above the offer, then it's a buy, even though the bid is 50 here as well. So then we had to go to an arbiter, a third data source. And funny enough, bar chart flags it as green, meaning that this was bought. However, their logic is clearly using if it's above the offer, which is 49 cents. It's kind of bolding in where it thinks it transacted above that, which is not wrong. Here's what I find fascinating. Look at the size of the purchase that this is showing you. 49 cents offered by 31. Here, there's a 50 bid at 46.88. So within the bar chart platform, there's an inherent discrepancy because this is saying it's above this price, but look at the size, 46.88 against 46.88 on the bid. So what happened here? Well, there's a couple different ways you could try to decipher the information. For me, this is actually very important. This is probably one of the more important data points in this whole thing, is to figure out the sizes, because then I can see when it came through. But if I look at it on this platform and we take a look at all of these different transactions that happen, these are a lot of buys that are flagged here. And then one big giant sell, if we use the other two data points, I'm not so sure about that. So I cannot say definitively what this is. My instincts lead me to believe that it would be bought. That would be my guess, because that also aligns with the incentives of being able to transact. Because again, otherwise there's an arbitrage opportunity. I would expect that to be priced out faster than a human could see it. That's my instinct. What calls into question my instinct is this right here and this size. The fact that the bid size here lines up perfectly with the size of this transaction, which lines up with what I see here, them tracking it as a sell, leads me to believe sell. And that overwrites my instincts. My instincts think that this is a buy. Doesn't really matter. Like if we're talking about all this in the grand scheme of things, none of this really matters. You're watching somebody right now who's been in options markets for so long that these small little nuanced things are fascinating to me, and probably only to me. This is like watching somebody like Michael Jordan, not that I'm anywhere near the GOAT, but it's like watching somebody like him shoot free throws. For somebody like him, he's focusing on like, how does the ball feel on the pinky on the 39th shot compared to the 62nd shot? Something that's imperceptible to most of us that play pickup basketball. That's kind of what I'm doing here. But this is fascinating to me. So I'm sharing it with you for that reason. So I hope other people find this at least somewhat curious, because I do. I would also love for the platforms to tell me what's going on here. So what's going to end up happening is I have another data source that I'm going to download all of the options trades from today and do my best to see what the sizes were that this came through at. Because if it is this, that would lead me to believe sold. If it is not this, and this is an error for some reason, then it would lead me to believe bought, which falls in line with the vast majority of other volume that we saw today here. But absolutely, absolutely interesting, especially to see this. This is a market unicorn to a degree, and something like this. This happens in small, sloppy products. It's not like that special, but it is very rare because algorithms are looking for this exact thing, and they're very, very fast, and they can price this out very, very fast. So the fact that this even printed like that, and if it's not an error, will be very interesting to me. So super, super interesting trade today. I am very eager to see what this actually is. But just note, despite what a lot of people will say online because they want to, share what they know, it's impossible to tell decisively from this information. Just because you pull it up on a platform and this one says, oh, this came in as a buy and we're going to color it like that, you got to be careful with data sources because they're processing large vats of data. That's not perfect. You still have to be a thinking trader out here and say, wait a minute, there's a lot of weird things that happened here. Again, it absolutely could have been a buy. It could have been a sale. I don't know, but I can tell I don't know because of these reasons. I don't just see the color and say, yes, sale for sure. Sale, but bid at 50, offered at 49, taken at 50. Very weird. I do not know. But like I said, instinct, I think buy based on the rest of the volume today. Based on the data, I would have to lean towards a sale. Again, leaning primarily on the size offered here matching perfect here. So I will have a better answer tomorrow for sure, because I will download all of the trades from today and I'll see what size they came through and what the market was offered at that time. So yeah, again, personal little pet project that really doesn't impact much of anything, but I do find very, very interesting. And if these were buys, this is a very interesting position because this is out for the next primary expiration at the 30s. It's a big position. So TBD, we'll see. If you have any questions, let me know. Be an outlier. See you guys later.